Once upon a time, 1,000 years ago, a Scottish chieftain fell in love with a fairy woman. He married her, and together they reigned from their castle on the Isle of Skye. But getting mixed up with the other world comes with a price. And after a year and a day, the fairy was forced to return to her kind. Before she left, she did make sure that the husband and child she would be leaving behind would remain protected. She gave them a flag made of enchanted silk. This flag had the power to reverse ill fortune, whether in health or in battle. However, the flag would only work 3 times before its magic ran out. The fairy went home to the other world, and the heartbroken chieftain kept the flag in his castle. Sure enough, the flag carried him to victory in 2 major battles. For centuries, it hung on a wall in Dunvegan Castle, until, in 1939, it was used one final time. That year, a fire broke out in the South Wing, threatening to destroy this historic property, which has been owned by the chiefs of the Clan MacLeod for over 800 years. When the fairy flag was saved and removed from the castle, the winds miraculously died down, bringing the fire under control. To this day, it hangs in Dunvegan, where visitors can see this fairy relic in person. That's one version of the story. But what about this one? Once upon a time, in the year 1066, a Norseman named Harald Hardrada led Norwegian troops against the Kingdom of England at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. Hardrada died in battle, but his cherished flag was saved. Made by craftsmen from faraway lands, perhaps in Syria or maybe in Greece, the flag was acquired during Hardrada's years working as a mercenary for the Byzantine Empire. Though he did not survive the Battle of Stamford Bridge, his people did manage to save his flag. And it was later passed down from Olaf the Black, King of the Isles, to his son Laud, from whom the Clan MacLeod gets its name. Is either story true? And does it matter? Today's episode brings us back to one of my absolute favorite topics, fairy lore. I'm Nicole Miras, and this is Fireside Fables. The Clan MacLeod is a clan from the Scottish Highlands with deep ties to the Isle of Skye. They claim the Norse Gaelic chieftain Laud Olafsson as their ancestor. Laud was allegedly a son of King Olaf the Black, though this is up for debate amongst historians. The Kingdom of the Isles, which included the Isle of Man and much of the Scottish Hebrides, was under the control of Norse rulers from the 8th to 13th centuries. Though these rulers typically answered to overlords in Norway, Scotland, Ireland, or England, their control came to an end in 1265 when the Kingdom of Scotland took over the Isles. The current chief of the Clan MacLeod is Hugh Magnus MacLeod, and his ancestral seat is Dunvegan Castle on the Isle of Skye, where the fairy flag is displayed. And as I mentioned earlier, members of the public can visit the castle and see it for themselves. There are several different legends associated with the flag, but many of them involve the fairies. One variant is that the flag was a gift to the Clan MacLeod upon the birth of a new heir. But the more popular story involves the fairy wife. For those interested in medieval folklore, you may have come across this concept before. Fairy wives are a recurring motif in the folklore of medieval Europe, with variations including the Leananshee or fairy sweetheart of Celtic folklore, the legends of Selkie wives found in Scotland and the islands of Orkney, and the mermaid Melusine, whose story was popular in France and the Low Countries. In many of these tales, a mortal man marries a magical woman, and there's a set of rules or taboos that he must abide by, or else she will disappear. Some of these stories are quite dark, as with the Selkies, who are basically being held against their will. Others, as in the legend of the fairy wife and the MacLeod chieftain, are love stories of a Romeo and Juliet nature. The couple wishes to stay together, but forces greater than them keep them apart, and the fairy wife is forced to return to the other lands. The Fairy Flag of Dunvegan is not the only medieval artifact associated with fairies. Currently housed in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London is the Luck of Edenhall, a beautiful enameled glass beaker that was passed down for centuries through the Musgrave family of Edenhall in Cumberland. According to legend, the beaker's enchantment had something to do with the family's good fortune, as Reverend William Mounsney of Botsford wrote in 1791. Tradition, our only guide here, says that a party of fairies were drinking and making merry round a well near the hall, called St. Cuthbert's Well. But being interrupted by the intrusion of some curious people, they were frightened and made a hasty retreat, and left the cup in question, one of the last screaming out, "If this cup should break or fall, farewell, the Luck of Edenhall." The Luck of Edenhall dates back to the mid-1300s, and historians trace its origins either to Egypt or Syria. You'll notice a connection to the Fairy Flag of Dunvegan. Both are associated with the luxurious craftsmanship of the Near East. In fact, during the 1930s, a representative of the Victoria and Albert Museum conducted a study on the fairy flag. His name was A.J.B. Wace, and he concluded that the flag was likely late medieval in origin and probably coming from either Syria or the Greek island of Rhodes. These were places that Harald Hardrada visited as a Byzantine mercenary, so it's possible that this version of the story contains a grain of truth. Regardless of its true origins, the fairy flag's magical associations have remained. While serving in World War II, one member of the Clan MacLeod wrote to Dame Flora MacLeod and told her that he would keep an image of the fairy flag on him, and he believed that this good luck charm helped him to survive during aerial campaigns. And of course, there's the story of the fire in the South Wing. Did a bit of fairy magic help to save Dunvegan Castle? In the end, after Mr. Wace finished his study, not everyone was willing to accept the flag's Mediterranean origins. Sir Reginald MacLeod, who was chief of the Clan MacLeod at the time, wasn't convinced. "You may say that," he told Mr. Wace, "but I know it came from the fairies." Thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying the show, please make sure to subscribe and leave a comment if you have an idea for a future episode. We have new episodes every single week. Be well, and I'll see you next time.